So 2024 came to an end.
Yay.
And then we got sick.
so sick.
January 1st, the plague hit us. And for the last week, we've been out. But we're back.
Yay.
We're not 100% for sure, but
Definitely
we
not.
are 100% committed to this channel. That's for sure. So, all right. Top 10 of the year. I want to start by saying this. I know we do this every year where we have to do the preface. Okay, number one, obvious shit out of the way. Hard list to make.
Yes.
Amazing year. You know, really, truly on that
really
one.
Amazing year.
You know, I know I say that pretty much every year, but this one really is a standout.
Yes.
So I want to say a lot of this stuff so that we don't repeat it over again. And, you know, you can say whatever you want about our list, right? Opinions, man.
Yeah.
Art
these
is
are
subjective.
Yes.
It's ours. Whatever. You guys are fucking grown-ups. If you can't take our opinions as opinions, then I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, these are the films that really landed with us. You know, hard list to make, and they're interchangeable and they're fluid and they could move on rewatch. You know, the same shit everybody fucking says.
Yes,
we all heard it. We get it. We know how top 10 lists work. Everybody's watching the same fucking videos and every one of them says the same shit. So I don't want to be those people. It is all true. I'm not saying what they're saying is true. There's true. A reason why everyone says it.
Top 10 lists are hard to make.
But
and, yeah,
I'm not gonna reiterate that stuff. And finally, the most obvious one, and the one that we absolutely are gonna try our best not to repeat over and over and over again. We loved all these films.
Yes.
Right? So I don't need to say, oh, I love this one and I love this one. Yeah, obviously.
We love them.
Because
love them.
I watched personally 298 2024 horror films. My goal was 300. Because of the sickness, I fell just shy.
Yeah.
You know, and I wanted to watch 300 before we made this list. And then by the end, I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. There's nothing I want to watch bad enough, right? There's a couple movies like In Flames and Tiger Stripes and these foreign films that I just missed, but they're not going to make this list. And there's no one's talking about them. And I'll definitely make a few other lists about like top 10, you know, this and that. But for right now, we're going to start really quick. I'm going to throw an audible here, and I am going to do my least favorite, the worst 5, and Kaylee will probably agree with most of these if she...
Let me just double check and make sure that I don't have...
No, she only saw 2 of these 5. Having seen, I think, because you said you watched 167.
Yes.
Horror films. So Kaylee watched more.
Maybe 169 now with the
additions.
There's a few that I haven't added. So yeah.
Yeah.
Between 167 and 170, which is a lot of movies, actually.
More than anyone else.
I thought I was gonna cap it I was like, maybe I'll get to 150, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like half of what you did. So you watch like half of the movies without me. Yeah. Which is fine.
There's only a couple that I would have liked to have watched with you. And if there was anything that I thought was going to make your list, I would have definitely like shown it to you.
Right.
But I don't think the only thing that I thought maybe could have interested you would have been Handling the Undead, which I've mentioned many times. But one of my favorite stories of this year is I had contacted a other YouTuber who was trying to watch every horror movie this year. And as a fellow YouTuber, after we had chatted back and forth and they were very pleasant and I was very pleasant with them, I as a last moment, like ending of our conversation, we were going to continue, like I was going to have them on the channel. And just as a like final note before I went like off to bed, I was like, hey, and just like a friendly, like, bit of information as one YouTuber to another who watches way too many movies, you're never going to be able to watch all the movies in 2024 in the horror genre. It's just not going to happen. So don't push yourself too hard. It's not possible. And this person really, really responded to that poorly, like super fucking poorly, and was really angry with me and blocked me. And I was genuinely shocked by their response. I could not believe it. It really threw me for a loop. I genuinely was taken aback by their response, because I just thought I was being more. I put it as like a joke and a wink, but it was an honest like, hey, there's no fucking way. And then I still have their like socials queued up, and like as like I'm subscribed and whatever. So like I saw the end of the year and they'd watched like they put on their video like watched 180 movies, and I'm like, dude, I watched over 100 more than you, and I didn't even get anywhere close to watching everyone. I mean, I probably watched half or less.
Sure.
There's so many that come out, and their response was like, it doesn't matter. It was very fucking rude and completely uncalled for. And it was funny because I was like watching them and they didn't watch fucking shit. And I was like, I was trying to be nice. So anyways, moving on. You can't watch them all, guys.
No.
Even someone like me.
Can't.
And the last thing on that is I will never do this again. This is the end. We've
already talked about it.
This actually hurt the channel way more than it helped it. The amount of output that we put out this year crippled the channel. I was like, I thought if we boost our numbers, if I put out as many films as possible, then obviously more of an audience will see it, right? Because there's going to be more people searching for more films, even the smaller stuff. And when they see I'm the only guy with the video for that film, we're going to, I'm going to pick up 5 here, 10 here, 20 here. And that's going to bring in more and more and more and more. And no, nothing like that happened. The channel completely tanked because of all the reviews. And this was before we started doing X-Files. The numbers were terrible.
The X-Files reviews.
So 2024 was a good learning lesson. I've always done a lot, but this year, we are announcing we are doing the least amount we will ever do. I don't even want to watch 100 horror movies in 2025. After I burnt myself out, killing myself, watching as many films as humanly possible for this channel, nobody gave a fuck, and most of the time just gave me shit for watching stuff. So I am only watching the ones that I genuinely want to watch. Like, I'm like, whoa, that looks awesome. I'm definitely watching that. That has a contention of like being a great film.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only fucking films I'm watching in 2025.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into the list, and we'll start with the bad, which this is not something that we enjoy. So we are not going to spend almost any time on this at all. I think Kaylee and I can agree on number 1. Everything else will just be, I don't have any order to this outside of number 1, which Kaylee, number 1
is Devon.
Devon
is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
The found footage film from JWoww from Jersey Shore. Yes, I know. You're probably like, wow, I can't believe that.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just awful. I was trying to give the girl the benefit of the doubt. I was like, because she's on the Jersey Shore doesn't mean she can't put out a competent film. Apparently, that is the case. Apparently, if you were in the Jersey Shore, you are garbage at making film.
It's awful. It's genuine. It's not a movie. We did a review. You can watch our review, but it's like, it's not something that we're like, it's so awful, go watch it. Like, it's actually a really horrible movie.
Yeah, and
Um,
and to add to that, there will be a review, and I think that's important when it comes to any of these titles. There's a review for all of them,
yeah,
and
you can
that's
go
why we want to be
watch.
a little more quick about our lists here. Is that there is a 20, 30, 40 minute
Yeah,
video on all of these picks that we're about to do, so we don't need to talk about them much. I think you guys know our thoughts on these movies for the most part,
yeah.
and it's more of just the order in which we put them in and which ones made them. For me, the other worsts of 2024 are The Bloodline Killer, unbelievable, probably the most angry I've been in a review this year. It's the movie I hated so much I watched it twice. I know that sounds insane, but I thought I was insane and I had to go back and rewatch almost the entire film, taking notes on every single aspect of it so I could do a complete breakdown of how fucking stupid the film was, and then was contacted by somebody who knew someone who worked on the movie and told me how it was like a pay to play scheme, that they were really just taking people's money to make like a quick fire film. Anyway, dreadful. Mousetrap, which is the Mickey Mouse horror film. It's hilarious to watch other people's worst of the year. They'll put in like, God damn, I wish I had these other people's worst of the year, because they only watch like mainstream films, and they'll be like, oh my God, yeah,
Imaginary.
Imaginary is the worst movie I saw all year.
Which, I mean,
Fuck.
yeah,
It was
Imaginary
not good.
sucked.
It was
Yeah,
bad.
but
It was
it's no
bad, but
Devon.
oh my God. Spin the Bottle, because it had it had two really like good actors in it,
Mm.
um who I just I can't for the life of me figure out how the fuck they get people like that in those movies. Now they don't play like main roles, but they play big enough roles, right?
Yeah.
Is Justin Long and Ollie Larder, and I was just like, the movie is so piss poor. Anyway, and then Model House was the other one you watched with me
Model House,
with
yeah.
Scout Taylor Compton. Just fucking awful. There's plenty of other films I watched that were awful, but these particularly pissed me off because they either like had something going for them, whether it's like they had a budget with real actors, and because we watched other things that
Well,
were really bad,
yeah.
but like these for some reason really pissed me off because they had potential, they had an opportunity, and they just failed on every single level.
My other
It's
like
going to be
three.
Festival of the Living Dead is going to be one of them, right?
Yes, that can be one, but I'm
Oh
actually
no.
looking Crazy House I hated so much. I thought that was one of the worst movies I watched this year, which I know some people probably were like really into that movie,
Oh
but
yeah, I've seen it on top tens.
I hated it. I thought it was awful. That was trash. Stream was another one that I think is one of the worst of the year.
Stream is bad.
It because of also like what you're saying,
Yeah.
like it has all this potential with people involved in it in various ways that but it was awful.
Yeah.
And then The Exorcism, I really
Oh
hated
yeah,
The
you hated
Exorcism
that.
with Russell Crowe,
It's
and
bad.
yeah, another very like AI kind of script. Um,
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we could
but
sit here and
yeah,
talk
I think that's probably
negatives.
it.
Yeah.
That's probably all I wanted. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. There's one more movie that I have to mention because it was horrible, which is The Strangers Chapter
Oh yeah,
1.
you fucking
I
hated that.
hated that. Okay, that's it.
I'm surprised
Those are the
that's not your
worst.
number one.
I mean,
That was the maddest I've seen you this year.
that should be the number one after Devon. But yeah, anyway.
All right. So now, starting here, we are going to do our top 10. Kaylee, I'm going to give you the honors of doing number 6. I'm just kidding. Number 10. So Kaylee and I have not seen our lists. I am very curious on what made your list and what didn't,
There's so many
because
that I liked. It was
I think I said I had, oh, I don't remember, because on Letterboxd I go by, you know, stars, and there's
Mm,
5 stars, 4.5 stars, 4 for anyone who doesn't use Letterboxd. 5 stars are rare for me. They're super rare. I only had 2 in the year,
that's
and
crazy.
this is a year that I fucking loved so many films.
Yeah.
So as I said, it has to literally be perfect for me to give
Mm,
it a 5. And honestly, there's probably another one that probably should have got a 5 and probably did, so maybe 3. But yeah, I had like 40 some odd films, and like the I definitely had like I had 30 in the 4.5s and above,
yeah.
right? Which 3 of them were 5. But freaking 30
Yeah.
4.5s. So there's 20 films missing from this list that got almost perfect scores.
Yeah.
So which ones didn't make the list
I know.
is the question. And you saw 100% of the 30, obviously.
Yeah. I had to just make this list by like I didn't think too much about it. I just had to be like, yep, 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 yep. And like pick it like that because otherwise I feel bad.
We said we weren't going to do that. We're not going to explain
I know.
ourselves. We're just going
Okay.
to say where our things are.
My number 10.
Oh my God, here we
I don't
go.
want to say it now because I'm already second guessing my order.
10 is definitely one of the hardest
10
ones,
is hard
right? I think this is the thing everybody also says, that you're just like, oh, like
because
we all say, because it's the one that is the final entry. It's the everything else after it gets knocked off, and this is the one that gets put in. So 10 is like one of the hardest things to do in lists.
okay, I put stop motion as my number 10.
Okay.
Because I really wanted this to be in my top 10. I think this is a super cool movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just great like effects, really creepy and scary. And I thought it was amazing. So, yep.
You know, stop motion did not make my list. Um, and I'll tell you, this is the type of film that is hurt by the fact that it came out so early,
Mm.
right? That you almost forget it. And it's
Mm.
like, I remember really enjoying the hell out of it,
Yeah, we
right?
both loved it.
But it was so early on. It was like one of the very first films we saw this year, if not the first film we saw in
I think it
2024. It
might have
was
been.
very close. I think Night Swim was the
Oh
first
yeah, Night Swim
film,
was the
but
first.
stop motion was in January, if my memory serves, and it was very, very early on.
Yeah.
And so I saw it a year ago. And I think one of the more important aspects of like making the top 10 lists, and a lot of people do this, and we've never done it. And it's something I would love to implement this year. And having only, watched a smaller amount of films, like we will, right? We will hopefully have time for this. We don't rewatch anything.
Mm.
And nothing on my list I've seen more than once, I think.
Yeah.
Which just sucks because, yeah, rewatching these would be more solidifying of its placement, where I could rewatch something and be like, on second viewing, it's not as good as I thought it was, or like, oh wow,
Mm.
like on second viewing. And that could be true of 50 of the films, because there were so many films I liked this year. It would take like 50 rewatches back to back to back to
I
back
know.
to be like, and who the fuck has time for that when you have kids and you have work and you have, so that's very tough. And there are movies on my list or not on my list that I'm like, I wonder how they would fare against the other ones, because some of these movies I watched 5, 6, 8 months apart,
Yeah.
and it's like, how do they stack up against each other if I watch them back to back?
Right. Yeah. It's a good question.
I don't know.
So, I don't know, but stop motion, I remember it fairly well, and it made a pretty big impact on me, even though it was early in the year.
It's a very cool
So
film.
yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch it, and you can check out our review.
Yeah. All right, my number 10. This is the only film on the list that is a sequel, or like part of like a major franchise or any kind of thing like that. And this is Smile 2.
Oh,
Um,
mm,
I think that Parker Finn had a hell of a task
Mm.
following up a very successful film that everyone already thought was going to be lame on its face, just because it's like a gimmick film, and it's like, how long can you make this idea of people smiling eerie?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy just has such incredible talent that he made one of my favorite films of that year. And then a follow up to that of like, how do you make a sequel to this without just feeling like it's a rehash of the first one? Well, you get a really really good idea, and you get a really really goddamn good actress who gives maybe the best performance of the year.
Mm.
And you got something. And this one just, I think, is part of what could become one of the next great franchises in horror. I feel like, if we continue on and we do a third with where this second one leaves off, and that one can be maybe Parker Finn, hopefully's last foray
Foray.
foray
Yeah.
into this franchise. Maybe kick it over to someone else to try something else. But I think that I think he delivered on everything he was supposed to and exceeded expectations, which is so hard to do on a sequel in general, but so much harder to do on a sequel to a movie that shouldn't even have worked in the first place.
Mm.
So I was just impressed all around, and the performance by Naomi Scott is just phenomenal.
I actually did not have Smile 2 on my list at all.
Mhm.
I thought it was great too, but I just there's so many others, and this is one that I if you watch our review, I think I even say like I need a rewatch of it because I didn't have a great experience in the theater, which definitely like detracted from my focus on the film. But I'm glad that it made your top 10 because I think it is a good sequel for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 9.
Okay, number 9. I actually did get to rewatch this movie when I visited my sister in Colorado, and for number 9, I put Oddity.
Whoa.
Yes, so
That is way different place than I was expecting.
I I don't like ordering. I don't want to like
That's
overthink it. But I loved Oddity. Obviously, I know we said we're not going to say I loved it, but I did. And I just had a really good time watching it with my sister again whenever I visited her. And I think it has one of the most memorable looking like creature things in movies this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really cool, great atmosphere. Um, just I thought it's just an awesome one, and really like a true kind of like ghosty paranormal horror thing,
Mm.
you know?
Another fantastic performance, a dual
Yes.
performance by the same actress playing two characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. My number 9 is the only other film on here that would be, I would say, in my opinion, considered a like Hollywood film.
Mm.
Right. I feel like everything else is very independent. So I put the two like Hollywood films
At the
as
end.
at the end to be pretentious. Number 9 is the movie that was my number 1 for like half the year. I was
Mm.
super big on this when we saw it. I loved it. I actually have seen this twice, so I lied. I showed this to my father, and this is
Oh.
Abigail.
Oh.
I think
Yeah.
that this is one that will be remembered.
Mm.
This will be a noteworthy one in the future, a classic that people mention in 20 years from now. I think people will absolutely be remembering Abigail. I hope we do get a sequel at some point. But yeah, I think it's super funny. I really like Melissa Barrera, Dan
Mhm.
Stevens. Um, you know, uh, you've got a lot of memorable performances in your Catherine Newton, and I think that there's some really funny moments. There's some really gory, graphic moments. There's some really memorable moments. I think the little girl who plays Abigail is great
Yes.
in it. Another probably one of the most overlooked performances of the year because she's a kid. I don't think she's getting as much attention as she should, but it's because she's a kid that she should be, because kids can make or break your film.
Mm.
And I thought she was perfectly cast.
Yeah.
She brings all of it that you need. You need the like innocence, and
Mhm.
you need when she needs to be scary, she's scary. So yeah, and Kevin Durand body slamming Abigail is probably the funniest thing I saw in 2024.
Yeah. Um, Abigail's not on my list, but I did give Abigail 5 stars. I am much more generous with my 5 stars than you are. So I have other films that, yeah, probably might be on
Abigail
your
didn't
list,
make your list at
but
all. Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I gave it 5 stars though. Like I loved it. It would
No,
have if
not.
we had done a top 15 or
I'm
a
just
top
very
whatever.
curious on what's on your top
Yeah.
10.
Okay.
Number
So
8.
number 8, I
Yep.
put Long Legs.
Whoa.
Yeah. I loved Long
8.
Legs. Yes.
I thought this was top 3
Oh
guaranteed.
no. No,
Oh my
my
god,
top
I am
3.
shocked right now.
Yeah, I Long
Wow,
Legs.
I have no idea what to expect
I
now.
was begging to go
All
see
bets are
Long
off.
Legs like multiple times, so much. I just it was so
Number
like it
8.
lived up to the hype for me. I think it has the best marketing in horror like this year,
Oh,
and maybe
easily.
at ever possibly. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. We had so much fun doing like the live stream where we went through the websites and everything. And uh, I want to I need to rewatch this. I think, as we said, this could easily like move places, but it's just, Nicolas Cage. I'm sure most everyone watching this video has seen Long Legs by now, or at the very least, like has seen Nicolas Cage, like a clip of him, and he's just terrifying. It's just the whole movie is so unsettling and creepy and just beyond memorable, and it created such a storm on social media, like on TikTok, with everyone singing his "Let Me In Now," and I just love it. So
It is such an insanely divisive film.
yeah,
So
I
many
can
people hate
definitely
it.
understand that. I don't think it's a film for everyone, but yeah.
No
So
great film is.
that's number 8. Yeah.
I am genuinely shocked by its placement there.
Okay.
So that's good. I like being shocked. Um, but yeah, wow. I thought, yeah, we'll see. Anyway, all right. My number 8. This is one. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's The Devil's Bath.
Ah,
Um,
I figured this was gonna be on yours.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, this is one of those films where people would be like, is this horror enough?
Mm.
There will be a couple, at least one more for sure, that will get that complaint. I don't give a shit. Yeah, I mean, I just think this movie has, such a richness to it. While it is very reserved, and I think that uh, that's going to be a common theme. I definitely like the slow burn, artsy, independent horror films. They
Mm.
can make or break a film for me, right? Like sometimes you get that slow burn going, and there's just not enough happening. We had a couple of those this year, like Starve Acre, where
Oh,
you're just
yeah.
like, those are the kinds of films where it's like, oh man, like you're watching, you're like, this could go somewhere, and it never does.
Yeah.
And you're like, ugh. But when it goes somewhere,
Yeah.
when it really ramps up to something, and you get so much out of it, that was this movie for me. I was
Mm.
blown away by the performance, by our lead. I thought that this was a great tale of the time period in which it's
Mhm.
set in, about women and how they were seen and how they were treated. And it's one of the better looks at like how we dealt with um, you know
mental illness
Yes,
and yeah,
mental illness.
and the ending,
The ending's
bro.
crazy.
Yeah, this is another one. It's not on my list, but I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 stars because it is yeah a fantastic film. Yeah, the ending is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 7.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you're gonna be surprised at this. So number 7, I put Your Monster.
Okay.
um,
Above long legs.
yeah,
Okay.
I freaking love this movie. I'm a big fan of like romance and horror together, and I think Melissa Barrera in this is like the most adorable I've ever seen her, and I just love. I don't know her co-star's name, but like their chemistry and performances together, just everything about it, I think is fantastic. I love the music in it. I love the ending. I think it's just so cool. I think this is definitely one that people might be like horror enough, but for me, I think it totally is. I think the ending is like 1,000%. Yes, this is horror. Um, just a really fun film. I don't know. I This is one we had like nobody in the theater with us. I think there was one other person, and it's a shame because I think really cool movies like this deserve more attention. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, now that you're saying it, it's obvious to me because you did love it, and I didn't know how much you loved it. I
Mm.
knew you loved it, but you loved a lot of these other films that I'm mentioning 5 stars.
Mhm.
So they could or could not end up on your list, and it wouldn't be all that surprising. But like as you say it, it's like, oh yeah, that would be on Kaylee's list. But it wasn't one I was thinking of at all,
Mm.
so it wasn't even on my mind. It wasn't even on my radar for your list
Mm.
of the year. It's a very cute, fun film. I think it would be a good pairing with like Elisa Frankenstein
Yeah, definitely.
from this year. So yeah, it's and Abigail. Like throw
Yeah.
some Melissa Barrera's in two of those, and then Catherine Newton's in two of those.
Yeah.
That would be like a perfect triple feature. But yeah, these are like cutesy fun horror.
Mm.
Like if you just want to have a light fun horror night with your friends, especially if you're like a teenage girl, that would be like a perfect triple feature. Nothing wrong with that. That's not throwing shade at all. I enjoyed all of them. All right, I will surprise you now with a
Okay.
number 7 that you would never expect on this list.
Okay.
I was pretty surprised it ended up on here myself. This is probably the biggest surprise that made the list.
Okay.
Number 7, Sleep.
Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I had sleep pretty high. I don't know if I gave it 5 stars or 4.5, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is
it
a
was
South
great.
Korean film about a woman who her husband starts having sleep disturbances.
Yeah.
He falls asleep and he starts doing things in his sleep, and it really fucks up their marriage and her mind. And I love the chemistry between them. I think it's a phenomenal film. I think no one talked about it this year. This will probably be the only list with Sleep on it, which is such a shame because this should have gotten so much more attention than it got. South
Mm.
Korea, I feel like South Korea should end up on a list every year, and I feel like Exuma
Yeah.
is going to be that movie. And honestly, if I could rewatch one single film from 2024, it would
It'd
be
be that one.
Exuma, because I saw it in theaters with Kaylee and I was super fucking tired. I was falling asleep during it.
Yeah.
And I was really upset because I was like, man, I feel like if I was really awake for this, I would be higher on this movie. And we
Mm.
never went and rewatched it. It's on Shutter.
Mm.
So I do want to revisit that because that could be a big one, and that has a huge rating. It's like a 6.9 on IMDb.
Mm.
But Sleep is the lesser known and the lesser talked about horror film from 2024. It's got like a dark comedy aspect to it, but I just thought that the performances from our two leads, unfortunately, the lead actor killed
Mm.
himself shortly after the movie was made, which is such a shame.
Yeah.
But I thought that their chemistry between each other, I thought that there was such a believability to them, and the breakdown of them, and like his commitment to like being better and always trying to do the right thing, and her always kind of roping him into staying even though it's like very clear that he should leave or she should leave, and they keep using this like thing to keep them together, and where it ends up going was kind of shocking to me, and I was
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
oh man, this got much darker. And the way it like plays on something where I was like, is this where they're going? And no, and then I was like, oh whoa,
Yeah.
okay, oh shit. So excellent film, and not gonna make anybody's list, and that's such a shame.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool one. Very shocking and very like great twists and turns throughout, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad. I mean, yeah, I'm glad that you have it on your list.
Yeah.
Okay, number 6.
Yeah.
Number
Hit
6
me.
is Breathing In.
Okay, I'm glad this is on your list. It's
Yes.
not on mine, but I
Yeah.
love this one.
Oh man, this is like one of the coolest movies we watched this year for sure. It it's a period piece and
I want all of yours to be different than mine. I know they're not going to, but that's why I love having you here,
well,
because
yeah,
this
we'll
is the
see.
kind of movie I
But
wish
yeah,
was on a list as well.
yeah, Breathing In. Yeah. So I don't remember what we say about it in the review, like if we reveal what subgenre it is, but it's so I don't even know. There's this whole visual like segment that we've talked about in a few different like other reviews, just that is so uh
Striking.
yeah, very striking and like impactful, and the performances from everybody in this is fantastic. It's very contained, like intimate, again period piece. um think like The Witch, but smaller and darker, I would say. It has some really cool visual elements throughout that were like, there's one scene that we were both so freaked out by that is one of those kind of um like blink and you miss it
Yeah.
and just in the
Yeah.
background kind of thing
Can't
that
be on your
happens.
phone.
So cool. It's just a great film. I loved it. I don't want to reveal the subgenre, but I also feel like I should because it might entice people to watch it if they haven't seen it.
Well, I
Um,
would liken it to Gretel and Hansel,
yeah.
which should give away the subgenre. Mixed with some other another film we watched from this year that is another fantastic film, which is You'll Never Find Me,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
just
that's a
like
fantastic one.
people in a room having a
Yeah.
conversation while there's clearly like something's wrong going on around them.
Yes.
There's just
Oh
like
my
this,
god.
there's just this feeling in the air
This is
that something's
atmosphere
wrong
throughout.
with
Yes.
everybody,
Yes.
right? Kind of like that movie The Veil we watched,
Yeah.
where it's just like there's something off about
But it's like
everybody.
yeah, it's so weird. Like the whole time in the I don't know.
Like
Yeah.
you don't know who to
You don't know who to
trust.
trust, you don't know what's going on, and you're like, but something's happening and it's bad. Like I know something bad is going on.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
tension in every second of the film because you just know that that there's something off to the entirety of the world.
Yes. I loved it. It's so great. You can check out our review for maybe more information or just go watch it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Number 6, another film that's going to be questioned whether or not it's horror enough. And this is definitely the least horror movie on the list. But for me, the the movie is all about the horror.
Mm.
So you'll know what I mean when I say it, but this is such a fantastic film. The amount of like talking this movie is not getting is crazy to me, but the people who did see it love it, and this is Red Rooms.
Oh,
Another
yay. I'm
movie we
glad
got
this
to
is
see
on
we in
yours.
another movie we got to see in theaters.
Yeah.
Another, I mean, this year more than anything is filled with the best fucking
It
performances,
has so
especially
many.
by women. I know women
Yeah.
kind of have always ruled horror because
Yes.
they get the best roles, and that's why I laugh when people say that like horror is like anti-women. That's the most laughable shit of all time. Horror is the most pro-woman fucking genre there is. What genre gives women more lead roles than horror? None. Like horror is the one that always puts women in the forefront. They're always the lead characters.
This
Um,
performance in this film is like definitely one of the top of the year.
it's incredible.
It's
I mean,
insane.
because it is so gray.
Yeah,
You don't know what the hell to make about
you
this chick,
don't.
and that's the whole movie is the character study of our
Yeah.
main character, and like what is her deal?
Yes.
I genuinely,
Yeah.
and when the movie ends, you're still going to look at it and just be like, I don't know what to make of this chick. I
Yeah.
don't know what the hell to think of her. I have my thoughts for sure,
Yeah.
but I completely see other sides to it. And I just think that, oh my God, there's a scene in this
Oh,
movie with an outfit change
it's insane.
that is so haunting,
Yes.
and it shouldn't be a thing, but because of how everything builds up to it. Like if you saw the scene out of context, you'd be like, you wouldn't think anything of it. You
Yeah.
would genuinely think like, okay, there's what is to that scene? There's nothing to that scene. There's everything to that scene.
Yeah.
And it will confuse your brain because you genuinely sat back and you're just like, now I know even less of what to think of this person.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad this is on your list. Because I do think this is a film that's like definitely going to be overlooked by some people, and it deserves to be watched. It is super dark. Like I think in our review, um, I don't know if I said trigger warning or something, but like it's one of those like the contents of like what's happening is so dark, so
So dark.
awful.
While you never see
Um,
anything in the film,
it's not a gory film at all,
no, there's
but like
none.
you know things and like what's being talked about and what's happening, and you're like, that's genuinely a horrible thing.
I don't think, yeah, this
So
film was smart to not put in what it was suggesting, because that would have cheapened the film.
yeah, I agree. This is one that needs nothing. It's just cerebral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
it's a courtroom drama
Yeah.
is what it is, with the best like character study of the year.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5 for me was Strange Darling.
Oh, this is
Uh
also lower than I would expect.
well, there's just
Both,
I don't like it. I
it's
don't
fine.
like it. You're like it's lower and I'm like I
No,
agree.
just
It should be
where
higher.
I would expect it.
Yeah, so Strange Darling. I know this is probably in your top some 5 somewhere as well. This is also I think one of the best performances of the year. Just like hands down.
Yeah,
This was such
agreed.
a wild movie that has such a unique way of telling the story through time
Yeah.
that is just like fantastic and very inventive and really gives you so much to you're just constantly kind of on the edge of your seat. Like you think you know what's going to happen, you think you know what's going on, and then something changes and you get, something that happened an hour ago that completely gives you a new context to things. And I think that that's just so unique. And yeah, I loved it. I really would love to rewatch this
Hmm.
as well. Um, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
Absolutely.
All of these, if you haven't seen them, you should watch them.
Absolutely. And Kaylee's trying to
Oh yeah, and
nicely
Kyle
not
Gallner
mention her
is
boyfriend.
in here, and that's also a huge plus. But as a side note, I'll say that the other movie that he was in this year that I loved even more than this one is Dinner in America.
Yeah, but that wasn't from 2024.
Oh, you're right. It wasn't from 2024, but I watched it this year.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah.
that's the movie that I loved it the most that I watched this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um. Okay. So moving on to number 5 for me, we have Oddity.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, you put it
this
just higher.
this was a terrible theater experience, as
Yeah.
we all remember,
Yeah.
but a wonderful movie experience. And Kaylee did get to watch this twice. I didn't, but I loved it despite being interrupted many times. So I wonder where it would have placed had I not had that theater experience and had I
Hmm.
watched it again. I think it's probably where it's at. But I think that this is like uh, the scariest movie of the year.
Mm.
Um, for me. I think that the placement of the startles
Yeah.
are expertly done. They're jump scares that are not cheap
Yeah.
and are really, really effective and well earned.
Yeah.
And I just really love the style. I love everything. This is a movie so good that the guy's previous work that I did not like, I wanted to go back and
Yeah.
revisit. We still haven't, but we didn't like Caveat, and I liked this so much that I'm like, I must have missed something.
Yeah,
Because we even went and watched all of his short
we did.
films
Yeah, exactly.
because there was like a prequel to this called like Olin Lost His Eye or How Olin Lost His Eye.
Yeah.
And then we saw he had a whole bunch of other little shorts and we watched every single one of
Watched
them.
all of
And we
them.
were like really into them.
Yeah.
And it was like, maybe we missed something with Caveat. So,
Right.
or Kavit, as we
I
liked to call it while we were watching it for some reason. We thought we were so funny to pronounce that word
don't know
wrong.
why.
But yeah, Caveat we need to rewatch.
Yeah, we do.
But for
Uh,
now, Oddity, fantastic.
yeah.
A film that could have easily gotten a 5 out of 5 for me. Um, on rewatch, it might.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
It's a perfect horror film.
Okay, number 4. This is a movie we watched kind of recently.
Hmm.
Le Vordelok.
Okay. Okay.
I had to put this up there. This is like the most insane creature looking thing of the year for me,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes.
I love this movie. We both loved it, I know. It's a period piece. I was obsessed with how it looks like it's from the 70s. Like everything, like even the people look like they're from the 70s. The performances from everybody is incredible. The story is one that is from the anthology
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath. It's a story in there that they like expanded on, but it's so cool, and I just can't get over there's just a creature design in this that is wild, and we couldn't figure out how they were doing it, aside from demon magic potentially.
Yeah.
Just genuinely one of those movies that I don't think anybody is gonna like know about until like 5 years from now, when people are like, haven't you seen this?
Yeah.
And you should watch it right now because it is
Yeah.
there's so much talent in that film.
Yeah, it's probably the most overlooked film of 2024. I tried to write every person I knew who does YouTube and was like, you should watch this. And unfortunately, we caught this at the very end of the year. We
Yeah.
watched this alongside of Nosferatu, same day, Christmas Day, we watched this. And because of that, everyone was done.
Yeah.
Everyone was done. And they were like, I'm not watching anything else. Because I wrote them and was like, you better, you should watch this. And they're like, oh, I'm seeing Nosferatu, man, but I'm burnt. And it's like, you watched 80 films. This is by like I was like 280 at this point. And I was like, I watched freaking 200 more. You can fucking squeeze in one more. If I'm writing you, if I'm taking my time to write you, I'm never wrong 99% of the time with like my friends who I know. And I'm like, if I'm hitting you up, it's rare that I hit up everyone and I'm like, yo, this is the one.
Yeah.
Gotta check it out.
Yeah.
Gotta see it before the end of the year. But
It's
it just so happened to
phenomenal.
be like 6 days before the year ended. And
Yeah.
people were like, no, I've already solidified my list. It's already done,
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't give a shit. Watch it. And none of
It's
them did. None of
incredible.
them did.
So don't make that mistake. Watch it.
Don't make that
Yeah.
mistake. All right. My number 4 is Long Legs. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
okay.
Long Legs was a movie that we were pretty sure at that time when the marketing was happening was like, okay, this is gotta be like if it doesn't make the top 5, then it was a disappointment, right? And it came out, and at first when I very first saw it, I loved it, but I was it was a different film than either of us was expecting. Um, it plays out a little different
Mm,
than you might expect, because of how they marketed it with the birthday murders and all of this stuff, and how I thought it was going to be more of an investigation and blah blah blah. But I'm somebody who can roll with it,
yeah.
and I can see it for what it actually is versus what I want it to be. And so I just had to adjust um my expectations, and within doing so I was able to just love it. I think it's going to be one of the most iconic films of the
Yeah.
decade. Like it or hate it, it's going to be a film everyone remembers
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Now, does that matter? Right? You can have a movie that's super memorable for being terrible.
Right.
But I just think there's so much to this. The iconic look of Longlegs himself.
Mm.
But I really love everything about it. We did a spoiler discussion, that I'm pretty proud of. We
Mm.
really got in depth on every single little thing, that I could remember on a one-time viewing, which I think we did a fantastic job of remembering every stupid little detail from this film because we were so obsessed with the cases
Yeah, we were.
beforehand. And I think this movie delivered pretty much on everything I could want. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of complaints with it. Would I have liked it more if it was the film I thought it was going to be? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm super happy with what I got.
Mm.
That I don't need to really worry about what it could have been, and more just kind of, be happy with what it is,
Yeah.
which is a movie that made my top 10 in my top 5, uh in a stellar, exceptional year.
Yeah.
So I can't be disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not.
All
No.
right, top 3.
Oh my god, I'm scared. Okay. Number 3 for me, I saw the TV Glow.
Okay. I wonder where this was going to end up.
Yeah.
So, okay, now
It's
we're
definitely
getting into
top
the
3.
more obvious.
This is a film that I think I called being like my top favorite film of the year for a while, and it definitely was. I think this is just a phenomenal movie. It really made me so emotional and like impacted me so much and filled me with so much nostalgia and just like all these emotions about like growing up and just in general existing on the planet.
Yeah.
And this is not a film for everyone for sure. This is definitely like queer horror. um but I just think it's so cool. It's so beautiful. And I have a shirt. I bought a shirt from some like private like
Artist.
artist at a horror convention because I was so excited to see.
She spent a
I
lot.
spent a
She
lot of
spent a
money on
lot
that
of money
shirt.
on that shirt.
um I just love it. Again, one that I want, all of these, I want to rewatch all of them. But this one is just, it really, emotional is the best word for me to describe like how I feel when I think about it and when I was watching it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the most divisive film of the year is, but I Saw the TV Glow is definitely in contention.
yeah, I know a lot of people hated it.
Fucking
And it's fine.
hate is a is an
It's
understatement.
definitely it's not for everyone. And it's okay. Like
Good.
it's not. But the
Yeah,
people that
I'm
it
fine with
lands
that.
with, I think that when it finds those people, I think this can be one of those like really transformative, like transcendental kind of like movie experiences that you have occasionally with film. And yeah, it had that kind of an effect on me. So number 3.
Yeah, I loved
Yeah.
it. I didn't have any issues with it. I
Yeah.
mean, did it resonate with me on that level? No. But I really loved the visuals. I really loved, the world building.
Yeah.
I loved the trippiness of it,
Mm.
and it felt fully realized.
Yes.
And that's something that I always appreciate when I see a movie, is a movie that knows its identity, which of
Mm.
course is ironic, um, since that's exactly what the movie's about,
Yes.
is not knowing your identity, or not being true to your identity,
Yeah.
should I say. Um, so yeah, I think it's great. It's definitely not on my list.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be.
But it's a movie I absolutely need to rewatch. We saw this pretty early on in the year in
Yeah,
theaters, and we had to drive quite a while to go see this.
we did. We
Um,
went to like a totally different movie theater than we normally go to
yeah.
see it,
And
and
yeah, no, I quite enjoyed it. It was a completely different film than I expected it to
mm,
be when I had first heard about it. I expected it to be more like Candle Cove's season one of
or Mr.
Channel
What was
Zero.
it that we watched this year?
Oh,
Mr.
Mr. Crockett.
Crockett. Yeah.
Mr. Crockett is more of like, think what people wanted,
Yeah.
more of like an ice cream man, like nostalgia throwback kind of
Yeah.
90s thing. Um, this was so much more than that. This was so much more
So
intelligent
much
than that.
more. Yeah.
Um, and it's just yeah, the hot takes I've heard on this movie from friends of mine are wild. So anyway, all right, my number three, Le Vorlock.
Live Lock.
Uh,
Yeah.
just an incredible film.
Yeah.
Shocking, because this is a movie we saw 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um,
But it was
and they
just
threw it on as like a random film Kaylee had never heard of. Never, I had heard rumblings of its quality, and I'd really been hunting it down, and that's why doing this last minute, where people are like, "You're out of your mind to throw on all these films." Well, if I wasn't super diligent about that stuff, we would have missed out on a movie that's in my top three, which is The Vortelock, which I thought, that's why I was trying to get on Tiger Stripes and these other things, because you never know these foreign films like this. This is a French film.
mm,
If you don't give them chances, then you're going to miss out on something magical. And I think that this will be that like hidden gem, one of the many hidden
yeah.
gems from 2024 that people are like, how the fuck did I miss this? And it's like, because no one watched it. And what a shame that is, because this has the best creature
Oh my god.
of 2024.
So cool.
You've got an animatronic puppetry kind of thing going on here, and that could make or break the film for some people. I could see some people watching this and being like, what in the hell are these
Yeah.
guys talking about? But man, the uncanny valley, like
Oh my god.
weird feeling that you get while watching this, and it just
Just the way that it's filmed and the way it looks, and yeah.
yeah, this is the one that I was saying that should be a 5 out of 5. I think I gave a 4.5, but I'm like, I don't see why I would give it anything but a 5.
Oh yeah, it's a
It's
5.
perfect.
It is a perfect film.
Um,
Yeah.
it blew me away
Yeah.
when we watched it, and yeah. So if you missed it, like most, you're not following the channel clearly, because we gave this a rave review, but that was only like 2 weeks ago, so
Yeah,
you haven't
it's
had
yeah.
enough time. It is on Hoopla, or at least it was.
Mm,
It can go off of there any day, but The Vortelock is the film from 2024 that you missed,
yeah.
and
That's
you
the one
shouldn't
to
have.
watch. Yes.
Yeah, don't let it be the one that got away.
Don't.
Be the cool guy at the party who
It's like
everyone's saying, I saw Abigail, and I saw Imaginary, and I
and
saw
you'll be like,
Afraid.
I saw the
And you'll be
Borderlock.
like, I saw the Vortelock. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about, Mr. Cool Guy that
Mr.
knows
Cool
all the
Guy.
cool movies? Be the cool guy who knows the cool movies, like us.
Yes.
All right, number two.
I'm scared. Okay. Number 2.
It,
Nosferatu.
okay, that's not surprising.
Yeah. I mean, what to say? This is just, I think I said it in our review. It's kind of like the perfect gothic horror movie. I don't feel like there's I don't feel like you can do it any better. I don't think you can make like Nosferatu or like a Dracula story better than this film. There's 2,000 live rats in it performing, so that's like a big reason why I love it so much. It's just fantastic. I think Lily Rose Depp, I think she is like also one of the top performances of the year. The way she moves her body in this, and like it's just insane. I personally really like the way that the Count looks. I know that a lot of people are like on it, like but the atmosphere, the sound design in this, I just found it to be really compelling, and I've been thinking about it a lot since, especially since we watched it on Christmas and then basically got sick, and I've been wanting to rewatch it. Um and maybe I have a little bit of a crush on Count Orlok, okay? So I don't know. I'm just kidding.
She's not
But
kidding.
it
She's
is
not
really
kidding.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, this is a movie that I feel it it kind of did exactly what I expected it to.
mm,
So because Robert Eggers has made three films in a row that I thought were phenomenal, and this was such an obvious win for me.
mm,
It didn't impress me
mm.
like it should have, because I knew exactly what to expect from it, and it delivered exactly what I expected. And so
So
somehow it left me feeling like,
like you wanted to be surprised or something.
no, it's just that it's I gave it like a 4.5.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, I think Eggers has made my top three
Mm.
every time he's made a movie. And this is the first time he's not even in my top 10.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he's so good that his movie didn't even make an impact on me, because already knew I was going to love it. So
Yeah.
like when I said, like, almost every film on the list I had either doubts of, like I was like, I don't know how this is going to turn out, or I knew nothing about it.
Mm.
And so then it was like, holy shit. When you get slapped across the face unexpectedly, when you're like, what is this? Right? I think it makes a bigger impact than movies you're like, yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to love that. And then you go see it and you're like, yeah, I loved it. Like
Yeah.
as expected. That, I don't know, there's not something as special as throwing on the Vortelock and just being like, what in the hell is this? And being like, what is this?
Yeah.
And for me, the Vortelock is better than
Mm.
Nosferatu. And I think they're similar films. And I was going back and forth on it in my head on, like, at first. And then I was like, no, I just got to be honest with myself.
Yeah.
And I have to say that the Vortelock impressed me more
Mm.
with what little it had to work with. And I like the Vortelock, the monster, more than
Mm.
Orlok, but I still like Orlok. I still like everything in the film.
Yeah.
I still like the performances from everybody. I also like the way that Lily Rose Depp moves her body.
It's insane.
um, but no, I really enjoyed it. I did. I don't have
Yeah.
to. I
No,
don't.
you don't have
I
to.
don't.
No.
It'd probably make my top 20. And
Yeah.
then if I rewatch it, it's gonna be another one of those super iconic,
Oh,
super
yes.
memorable films from this year. And I'll
Very
probably kick
much.
myself later for not having it on here. Be like, really, Smile 2 over Nosferatu?
No, it's
Uh
okay. I have it on my
Smile
list.
2, Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Do we see a Nosferatu 1?
No.
No. Okay.
Number 2
Number 2.
for
For me,
you.
yeah, so that's right. Number 2 for me is the film I had said it was going to be when it come out. This is Strange Darling.
Yeah.
Um I just, yeah, this is one we went to, and I was just like, I knew nothing about it. I
Yeah.
knew it had Kyle Gallner, so I was like, I have a feeling I know what to expect from this film style wise, because he has a very specific style that he likes to go after. He's also in Smile too,
Ah,
by the
yes.
way, for the opening, which is
Yeah.
actually might be my favorite opening of the year. I think that's
Mm,
another strong reason why I love Smile 2 so much. I think the
mm,
opening is fantastic. I think it might have my favorite opening. Anyway, Strange Darling. Just Willa Fitzgerald's performance is next level. I don't know who gave the best performance of the year, but she's definitely up there.
hmm.
I could absolutely, I think I voted on her on Brett's thing is what I did. So I'm gonna say it's her. Uh, but man, just what a story! What performances from both of our leads here. Even the secondary characters that come in, I loved. But I think there's so much going on in this film. I feel like this is a stripped down Tarantino film, without a lot of the like witty dialogue having to be like put in your face every 5 seconds,
Yes,
right? Like
yeah,
if you took
yeah.
Tarantino's script and you cut out like
All the
80% of
ego
the
that he
dialogue,
injects into
I
it.
don't give a
Yeah.
fuck. I love Tarantino movies. I'm not shitting on Tarantino. I'm just saying it feels like a more refined, and not refined. Refined's not the right word. Stripped down Tarantino film. That's the way it felt to me, and that's nothing but compliments on both sides of the aisle there. I love Tarantino films, even more than I love these films. But yeah, I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah.
Obviously, number two in a year with 300 films. Number two, incredible.
You want to just say number one together?
So yeah, I'd wondered
Really?
if it was gonna maybe eke its way out of number one. I
What?
figured not. I figured not,
What?
but you never know. You could have thrown a curveball. You could have thrown a curveball.
Crazy.
So no surprise here. I know this is number one for most people, and that's for good reason,
It is
right?
for good reason.
It's
The
the substance,
substance.
right? Number one.
Yay. Go.
This was we had saw this in theaters. We didn't know anything to expect from this film.
Nope.
I knew the director's previous film, Revenge. I quite liked it, but nothing like this. I mean, nothing
Yeah.
like this. This is the film that we came home from, and I was electric the entire way home. I was buzzing. Sometimes I hold my opinions from Kayla. I did with Strange Darling. I was real coy with it. I like to reveal it in front of the camera. I didn't fuck it. I clapped in the theaters. If I'm clapping in the theater, that thing has a really strong chance of being my favorite film of the year. This is the movie we came home, and I started the review by saying there's no way anything is beating this,
Yeah.
and this will be number one for sure. And yeah, I honestly almost put Vortelock as number two.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
and but there's just nothing could touch the substance from this
No.
year.
No.
This is a
No. No.
this is a best movie of the decade type of film for me. This is a once in a generation type of film for me. I just
Yeah.
fuck. This did everything I could possibly want in a film and more.
Oh
I mean,
yes.
talk about a film that went
It's
over the
so
top.
packed with so many things, and it's so like, and it has substance to it too. Like it has something that it's talking about, that it's trying to say and shine a light on, and and just the best way that horror can do that.
Yeah,
Um Obviously, Demi Moore just won a Golden Globe for this as well, for her performance, which is well earned.
yeah,
She gives an outstanding performance. I think that like there, I mean, we've been talking like who gives the best performance. It's, I mean, for sure it's her. Like in this film, she completely transforms.
yeah,
And there's just so much. I mean, we did a really lengthy review that you can watch, and obviously, like we said, I think tons of other, YouTubers and people are putting this as the number one on their list, as we'd already said, for good reason. So, if you haven't seen it yet, it is 1,000,000% worth your time to go see it.
it was tough too because we got to see a really early screening of this,
Yeah,
way before people got to,
yeah,
and we were like, we had an embargo on it, and we had to keep our opinions to ourselves for a bit. I didn't with my friends. but we saw this before almost anybody, and I was just like, guys, and it was one of these movies where I was like, sometimes you worry like you're hyping something up too much, but I never did with this
Oh
one. I
no.
was telling my
No, no,
friends,
no.
the guys I know who know me and have similar tastes, I'm like, dude, I couldn't hype this movie enough. And they know me, they know better than to worry, to be like, I don't know, man, like maybe you're hyping this too much. They're like, oh shit, like if Jason's saying this, it's like legit. I never worried about how much praise I was
Yeah.
heaping onto the film. I was never worried about like, will this movie be received as well? And there was a part of me that was like, is it possible that we're gonna have this be that movie that everyone's like not a big fan of, and we're gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with
It would have
people?
been
But
wild.
I mean, to be fair, probably half the people I know, they were like, I loved it, except for the ending, except for the
Oh,
last 20 minutes, which
I
is
love the
the
ending.
best part of the movie. I, I
Yes.
I can't for the life of me. They think it's too much, and I had mentioned that when we had saw it, like
Mm.
maybe this is going to be too over the top for people, but you can never be too over the top for me. This is like this is the film that finally, finally delivers on the climax. I mean, we are talking about taking absolutely everything you could possibly imagine and throwing it at the screen, and then taking that times 10.
Yeah. It's just truly a wild experience of a film.
I loved
And
it
it's
so much.
amazing. It's definitely one of the best body horror movies in existence.
The best for me.
Yeah, I think it probably is the best. But yeah, I don't it's number 1.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And
And
then
the
oof.
easiest 5 star I gave
Oh yeah.
in
I was like
2024. It was
the
never a question in my
no,
mind for one
not
second.
at all.
Yeah. I mean, there's so
Um
many movies we could mention and talk about, but is that what you're trying to do now?
Oh yeah,
Some
we don't have
honorable
to. I
mentions?
don't know. I was just looking to see if there was anything that I wanted to honorably
You
mention.
go ahead. I have another list I'll be bringing to the channel
Okay,
later
some
on, but
other honorable mentions I will say. I really loved In a Violent Nature. I
mm,
know a lot of people didn't, but I think it has actually still
my favorite
the
kill of the
best
year.
kill of the
Yes.
year.
Yes.
And I really love the ASMR style of it.
Hmm.
Find it really cool.
Very much looking forward to part 2.
Yes, very excited for part 2. I also really liked Late Night with the Devil.
Oh yeah. That's going to
Um,
piss a lot of people off that neither of our lists featured it.
yeah, I do think that was a fantastic film, and, I think I even did give it no, I gave it 4.5, but I would love to rewatch it.
Me too.
That one's great.
One
Um,
of the best. It's definitely one of top 2 best found footage films of the year, alongside of
Milk and
Milk and
Cereal,
Cereal.
yeah, which is the other one. Cuckoo was also really great for
Oh,
me.
that's one I'm shocked that isn't on your list.
Yeah,
Cuckoo's one that I thought for sure would be on your list.
Cuckoo was a fantastic one. Um,
Shout out to the 2 double features that everyone was talking about this year and ended up on everyone's list. One of these 4 films. So the first double feature being the obvious double pairing of Immaculate and
yeah,
The First Omen,
yeah,
both excellent films.
excellent,
Could have
yeah.
easily made a list. Loved
Yes.
them both. They're so similar that I'd honestly, if I put either one on the list, I would be like, they're tied with the other one, because
Yeah.
they're like
They were just
identically
so yeah.
like good and so similar.
Yeah.
And both Nell Tiger Free and Sydney Sweeney give fantastic performances. So yet another great pairing of performances there. And then the other very similar type of films that came out this year that were also very good. I would put them probably neck and neck with one another. Is Sting
Yes.
and
And
Infested.
yeah, I was just looking at both of those. Yeah. Both
Yeah.
all 4 of those are excellent. And then the last one, of course, I'll say is just Alien Romulus, I think. Was also a really great one from this year and has a really killer like ending sequence for me.
Even though I'm
Um,
making another list
so
here, I will mention this since other people might not watch that list or whatever. But another film that absolutely could have made my list and was very close and I wrestled back and forth with it. I think it's a fantastic film. This is another insanely divisive film, another indie, another film that so many people overlooked, but it did get a decent amount of discussion for a minute. So hopefully enough people watched this when it was out. But this is The Coffee Table.
Oh yes, yeah.
Coffee Table is fantastic. I think it's it's probably, I don't know, it would be a great pairing with something like Red Rooms.
Oh god, if you just want to like
Just
feel miserable and
yeah,
like
the subject matter is dark as
yes.
fuck.
Yeah.
Some people saw it as a comedy, which is just shows you how disconnected people are,
Yeah.
from like how desensitized they are,
Yeah.
should I say. But anyway, we really tried to make this short,
We
and
did.
this is probably an hour,
Yay.
which is a shame because we were trying to be as quick and rapid fire as we could. But you know, watching 300 films in a year and whittling it down to 10 and only discussing that, and we are talking about the whole year because most people will only watch this video for the year. um we're not going to do it in fucking 20 minutes, and most
Yeah.
of our audience loves the long form stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So now we kick it over to you guys. That
Yeah.
that comment section needs to be filled to the brim with lists. I
Yeah,
want
I
to
want
see
to
your
know.
top tens. If you disagree with ours, fine. I don't care. You don't have to be
Totally
dicks
fine.
about it. It's not necessary. But I know the true blue fans of the channels, of this channel, will be cool as hell,
Yeah.
and they'll throw us our lists back at us, um, and tell us that we're the greatest that there's ever
No.
been. No, we want to see your guys'
Yeah,
list
I
now.
really do want to see
I want to
what
see what the
everyone's
general
enjoying.
consensus is.
Yeah.
I see the substance will probably be on most people's lists, and you'll see why it was the best film of 2024.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Alien Romulus, as you had said, is also another divisive film, but I
Mm,
I loved it as well.
yeah.
So, and there's tons of other films we
So
loved,
many that
so
we
many
had
other
a
films
great
that we
time
love
with.
that we
So,
did not mention.
yeah.
But you, if you followed the channel, you get rewarded by knowing every single thing. So shout out to those of you who actually watched every video, stuck with us,
Thank you for
the
watching any
diehards,
videos.
yeah,
Yeah.
for the patrons,
Yes,
for
thank
the
you so
the
much.
channel members,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you. I know it's not a lot, but it's something,
It
and
really helps
yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
And we appreciate you.
yeah, we
And
do.
we appreciate you for just watching and hanging out with us. So I hope everybody had a good end of their year and hopefully a better start to 2025 than us.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
we'll see you throughout the year with more
We'll see you
videos.
in 2025, but just not as much.
Just a little less,
Yeah.
but maybe for longer videos. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see what works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.